All right.
Let's see where we live at.
All right. We're live. It says.
All right, let me see where we at. Don't stop yet. Don't stop yet. Get it. Mm. All right,
I see us.
we are live.
Welcome, everyone.
All right.
Oop, damn.
All right.
We are here. We are live.
We are live and in the building. We are live.
What a day. We're trying to get all this settled. I have guests up at my house because of the hurricane coming, and so I got booted into a little corner so I could have some privacy.
I understand. I understand. I
So I was
understand.
like, oh my god, I gotta set all this stuff up real quick.
I know. I actually was asleep, because I did that thing last night, and for some reason I knew it was going to be a little struggle tonight. Even
Yeah.
though I had, did my stuff, prayed, meditated, called my angels to go before me, all that good stuff. But I knew I just had this feeling, and it was. And
Yeah.
so when I got up this morning at 7 o'clock, only thing I could think about was I need to hit the bed. I hit the shower and I hit the bed. I didn't even eat. Nothing. I drank some water and went to sleep.
I feel you. This week it's been a long. This week has been a long week. I told you, like
It
I got home
has.
from
I
my
was gonna
job and I
ask
had
you.
to take a nap. The energies this week have just been crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. I don't know if it's because of, retrograde ending and,
And the
we have
hurricane.
all the other planets are also coming to an end this month. So
Yes.
I don't know if that's like causing a lot of the craziness right now, but
Yeah.
people's
All I can say
energies.
is, woo.
Yes. And you and I being a projector and a reflector,
Woo.
that is a lot for us to take in.
Yes. It's. Do you find that the more you dive into your design, you can see your life?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 I
I
thought that
actually
was the
introduced
neatest thing.
I introduced someone to human design yesterday, and so I was telling them a couple things, and they actually kind of got mad at me when
You were speaking
I kind of
truth.
what
I see you were speaking truth.
I was, and so like it was like I called them out kind of on something, and so they haven't spoken to me since, and I'm like. But it was nothing negative. It was, they're the same thing as me, the 3-5. The 3-5. So I just kind of blatantly made a comment, and obviously it triggered them because of the fact that it's true, and they didn't know how to respond to it. But it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing, being a 3-5. We're mortars. You can tell us all damn day anything you want to, but the fact of the matter is, I ain't gonna know that that pot on that stove is hot until I touch it.
I wonder if my son is that.
Yeah.
Because that was him.
Yeah, we're not going to listen. You can tell us all damn day. And that's not bad. And, honestly, it made so many things because growing up, growing up with narcissism and stuff like that, but it was also kind of I always questioned why are things so hard for me? Like, why do I have to? And, and it's funny because other people make comments about that. Like, why do you always have to do things difficult? Why can't you just do this? Why can't you? And I never had an answer for it. I never, it was just that it felt good to me. It
Hmm.
felt, onto it. But then learning that I was a 3-5, ding, 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 I've got a winner. That's why, because I have to learn from experience. That's how I teach.
And
I
that's how you
can't
grow.
just, it's how I grow. But that is my makeup, and that's something that I embrace. And then God, learning that I'm a projector, at least that person that I was telling it, they're a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And you can always tell them too,
yeah.
because their energy is like big.
Yeah. I don't really, I've realized now of coming together with the human design, I really don't get along with a lot of manifesting generators. Their energy, like I just see
Too
so
much.
much. It is just too much. But it is funny because I look back to a lot of the people that I had relationships with, and they were well, I don't know specifically, but I look now at characteristics that I understand and that I know. The reality is they were manifesting generators
Right.
onto it. And I see a lot of that now into them, and it was like they got on my nerves so much because I couldn't keep up with their energy. I was
Exactly.
trying to keep up with their energy, but I couldn't. You know.
And imagine me as a 2-4
Oh
hermit.
God, yeah, yeah,
So people's energies,
yeah.
it's like,
Stay
you know,
away.
even we went to a pool party the weekend, and it was a lot of fun. It wasn't a lot of people, which I was grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
because typically in those settings, it'd be a lot of people.
Yeah,
And for me, it's overwhelming as shit.
yeah.
I usually go and find a corner somewhere, and
That's what I was
usually
just gonna
it's
say. That's what I do.
me, and then what happens is people find me.
Yeah.
2 or 3 people, come and they'll just start talking, and we'll end up talking, and we'll end up talking usually the whole
We
night.
take over the party.
And we don't do that on purpose.
No, we don't. But we get
My husband
accused
and
of it.
are party starters. That's what we've termed ourselves.
Yeah.
Because when we go, we get up and we start dancing, and everybody will get up and start dancing.
Yeah. It's our energy. Everyone's drawn to our energy. But we don't have it, and that's the funniest part about it. It's like we need your energy,
Right. I need yours.
but we have it.
Right.
But we have it, and everyone seems to be like, "Woo!"
Right? It's like, oh my God. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. You're like, okay. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
But I know that as we navigate this life, and as we grow, and as we have experiences that help us to grow. Let's say
Yeah.
that. Because so many times as you're in the spiritual growth process, and I love to call it a container,
It is.
because it really is. And it's like as we're in that container, it's like, okay, now how am I supposed to react to things? Because I'm enlightened now, right?
Right.
So then, I know that many times things will come at you and trigger you to see if you actually really did grow, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Sometimes
I've
it's
had a lot of it
people.
this week. It's been great.
Right?
So,
I can imagine.
well, I posted that of how I got created. I posted that onto my Facebook of like how my journey has kind of gone. And I've had a lot of, insensitive comments made, a lot of, different aspects. And I love synchronicities. And I love that when you're on an awakened path, you see so many more of them. And I'm reading like 3 books right now.
Right.
But, it is the combination of the insensitive of how could you cut your family out? How could you? Like, how can you have no contact? And, I was reading some stuff, and, it becomes a mentality, and I think that people, it's where they're afraid to grow. It's that comfort, but it is the burn all bridges behind him mentality.
Yes.
And I think in a spiritual journey of a true, you got to burn the bridges. And you know what? I got matches galore, and I set a bonfire.
Yes.
To those, and and I never have really analyzed or necessarily have looked back onto it of just how positive that was for me, because I got rid of my safety net.
Yeah.
It was, I'm not going to tolerate any of this anymore, which we've been talking, of going into the manifesting and different aspects of it. That desire. You've got to have that desire.
Yes.
But to honestly, truly have that desire, you also have to realize that you can't go back.
Yes.
So why are we going
Can't
to
go
sit
home
here?
again.
Yeah, you can't go home, but it's still, it's like it's that safety net, and I think people nurture still, but
Yeah.
like it's like you're wasting your energy, you're
Yes.
wasting your time to facilitate, that type of energy into it. But I think it's because you're in that mindset. You're still not in that mindset of growth onto it.
Right.
And so, like, I've had these insensitives of like, oh my God, you like got rid of your family. I mean, like, you're a horrible daughter.
What you want to say is that all you got out of that?
Yeah. Well, and it's hilarious because I'm not respecting my elders. I'm not. Where was the respect to me? Where was the respect to me as a human being? Like I think back of like,
I
like one of the
mean, these
person,
are people that are supposed to have nurtured you.
right. And, and I tried to. And the fact is I tried. Like, like before I cut my family off, like I called my dad out on the physical abuse. I called him out on the information onto it because, I wanted to put it to rest. I wanted to put it to peace. I wanted, to do it. And his response back to it was, who gives a fuck that I tossed you around like a rag doll?
So, thus, the cutting off was a good thing.
Right. I mean, because you let me know that you still don't value me as a person. I mean, you can't even say I'm sorry. Because I know you can't change it. Like, I know you can't go back. I know you can't go back to do anything. But at least honor me, respect me as a person, and say, I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry I didn't know how to regulate my emotions. I'm sorry I didn't know how to handle situations. I'm sorry. But as we know with the narcissist isn't going to do that.
Well, they are sorry.
Well,
they're just not sorry for doing anything.
Yeah, no. They're sorry that I got awoken.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's really, it's kind
sorry
of
that you woke the fuck up so that you could understand and see things for what they were.
Right. That I finally saw the dysfunction, that I finally, but but going into the synchronicities of like burning the bridges, then another book that I'm reading it's talking about the quantum leaps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's talking about like what really defines like the quantum leaps, because you hear so many people in the spiritual community that are talking about the quantum leaps, and and basically I think this book, like, basically in it, I've talked about the tower moment and the the jumping. That was my quantum leap.
Mm-hmm.
Of how this book like breaks it down. It's when you take that leap of faith and you go, well, you quantum leaped forward. And the reality is I did. Not necessarily how, because you can't have any expectations. When you do a quantum leap, you cannot have any expectations of how it goes, because where exactly are you jumping in your timeline? Where is it? I had to go back, which all of us have to go back.
I don't agree with all of that, because I think that you have to have some type of expectation. I mean, it doesn't have to be quantified, like not in one little nut, but I mean, you have to have an expectation that.
Well, my expectation was anything is better,
right,
than what I was dealing with.
Right.
So that so yes, that expert, but how or exactly what that was, I had no freaking clue. I had no expectation. I didn't, and it was horrible. It was horrible, horrible. But I still had faith. I still had that faith, and guess what? I burned those bridges, so I couldn't go back.
No.
So where was the only way I could go forward? Well, I just gave the answer away.
Right. Well, the thing is that's the important part. It's like when you get ready to make those quantum leaps and you burn those bridges, because that's done.
Yeah. You have to have that mindset. If you want to really grow and you want change,
yes,
you have to cut. Yes. Get those hedge clippers out and cut those damn bushes away.
And the important thing that you just said that I wanted to bring out is not easy. It was fucking hard as hell, right?
Yeah. It was everything I knew. It was comfort. Not that I ever had the support or anything, but it was, I could have a bitch session if I wanted to. I could have any of that type of, stuff, like of those type aspects, but I didn't want any of that.
Right.
I didn't want. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still your comfort. It is still your family. It is still that dynamic. But, I had to sit there, and when I'm sitting there and I'm crawling out of my skin being around these people, is it worth it just because they're my family?
Exactly. I
No.
agree completely with that. I have I've had that kind of thing too as well. Um, because people would say, "Well, how do you cut off your so and so, your blah blah blah?"
Hmm.
They're like, I cut them off because they weren't serving me anymore.
No.
They were no longer serving me.
Well, I think people get caught up with that saying of they weren't serving me. I think people
Hmm.
get caught up of that. That's a using type thing, and
No,
you're not using anyone by someone
right,
serving you. Someone serving you is supposed to be. It is supportive. It is supposed to be growth. It is not taking away from
right.
it. So that serving me is we're in this together, and we are planting some seeds. We are talking about visions. We are nourishing and loving each other is what
Yes,
when you hear people talk in the spiritual community about serving someone,
yes,
that is what it is. It's not serving to be using someone or to get this or that from them.
right.
It is about we are nourishing and we are growing and we are bringing light to the situations.
See, and that's not even a thing that I would have thought of.
I've heard that before. Like a couple, like I know a lot of people who have, living where I do, the spiritual path, it's devil worship, it's,
Of
different types
course,
of things. And so
hmm
it's, oh, you're serving, you're using, and I'm like,
because you're in the Bible Belt.
I'm in the Bible Belt. I'm in the Bible Belt. Yes.
Church on every corner.
Church, mega churches, not just a church,
Yeah,
mega churches,
been
you
to a
know,
few there.
yeah, every, closed down shopping center becomes a
The
church,
mega church.
you
Yeah.
know? Um, so
It
it's
used to be
interesting.
liquor stores on every corner. Now
Oh,
it's
there
churches.
still are. There's liquor stores right next to the damn churches.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right, you're right.
When it's funny because the liquor store would be there before the church went up, and then the church now comes in and says the liquor store it's got to move.
Right. What is something wrong with that?
Well, because they're closet drinkers.
Yeah.
They don't want to be seen going straight into the liquor store right after church.
Yeah. Same thing with the what is it, the sex shops. They had a petition at one church I went to where they were trying to get rid of the sex shop in the area, and I thought these people need that sex shop because they probably need some help in their bedroom.
They do, but it's all vanity. It's all it's all about appearances. It's all looks.
Well, and control.
Yes, control.
That's a major thing. It's like,
Well, my view is religion is control.
it is. It's the
It
opiate
is.
of the masses. Karl Marx said that thing, and he was right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opiate of the masses. It's what allows people to be blinded
Yes.
and stay there for life. I laugh when I hear people say stuff. I'm like, because I was reading some comments on a YouTube video that this girl had posted, and I think it was like a short where the husband was smudging the new home.
Mm.
Girl, if you'd have read those,
What was wrong with the
sometimes I
husband
just
smudging?
get off. Oh, because the people were saying, oh, they just need to bring the pastor and let him clear the house. And if they would just believe in God, they could just, they don't need to do all of that. But the comments were, oh, they were hilarious. People were going back and forth about that stuff, and I mean, it was just crazy.
Well, I love when people I talk about God consciousness,
Yeah.
and it's how dare you think that you could think like God?
Because we were created in His image.
I know. Mirror work is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about mirror work. I think
Yes.
mirror work is something everyone needs to embrace.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people understand or know the power of mirror
No.
work. But
Mirror work is huge.
yeah, and that honestly did massive healing for me. Massive
Me
healing.
too.
That's my dark shadow.
Yeah.
That's where my post again of I took down all the mirrors in my house at one point because every
Wow.
time I looked in the mirror, I had no clue who the hell was looking back at me, but I knew I didn't like her. I would honestly kind of get scared because it was like I felt like me, I felt like I was acting like me. I felt like, but then like I would get a glimpse of myself in the mirror and it would be like, who the hell is that? And like I even commented, and I did, and my kids and I used to make games of it. Like we'd be in stores and stuff like that, walk past the mirror section, and I'd be like jumping, like, who's there now? Who's there now? You know?
Who is she?
Who's she? You know? And then it was like maybe that demon's gonna show up this time now. You know? It was kind of scary, but I had to sit down with myself. And, I had to learn how to love myself. I had to, every scar, every verbal abuse, every mental thing that was drilled into my head, that was in my subconscious, I had to reprogram it.
Yeah.
I had to reprogram it, and I had to get rid of it. And then, like, people laugh at me where I'm like, shit, I go across the mirror now, and I'm like, oof, sexy bitch, and they're like, you
fine as hell.
Like, yes. I'm thankful for God, and like God created me, and I'm like, why don't you do that? I was like, you say you believe in God, and I'll ask people, I'm like, did God, does he make mistakes? And they're like, no.
Sometimes you think so.
You think so, but like I'll ask them that, and I'm like, then why don't you love yourself when you look in the mirror? If you truly believe that God doesn't make mistakes.
Yes.
If you're going to sit here and preach to me from the Bible, and you're going to sit here and preach onto that, you're not listening to the one big thing that you're saying, because you're sitting here telling me about how you look in the mirror and you hate what you see.
Yeah.
You think God made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are you sitting there then telling me God doesn't make mistakes? Right. You're not a mistake. You're mm-hmm. not. Why aren't you? I was talking with a girl the other day about... we were talking about self-images and stuff like that, and she has a really hard time because her mother was very vain. Skinny is beautiful. She has 4 children, and she's beautiful. She's beautiful, and like she was just kind of telling me some of the stuff like her mom says, and I can completely relate to that. I in high school, my sister ate her emotions. So my sister was a big girl. She was closet eater. She didn't think anyone could tell, but again, everything that happens in the dark comes to light, and she kind of couldn't hide that. You know, and also when all the food's missing from the pantry, and one person's gaining weight, where's the food going? Okay? But, I kind of went to the opposite end of it. My dad had, constant like sayings of like a moment on the lips, forever on the hips, use a gun, go to jail, eat a donut, break the scale. And we'd be out in public, and he'd see me eat something and he would scream it across and stuff like that. So like just complete embarrassment and stuff. That I was bulimic. I became bulimic. And, not my mother of, being concerned of like, oh my God, like my daughter has just like dropped all this weight. I was praised and I was prided because I was saving her money, because I was 17 years old and I could wear a size 12 little girls. And so I was saving her money because she could shop in the little girls section, which made it so that she could afford to buy my sister plus size clothes. But that's the craziness of what people don't realize of like psychological and, the mental abuse that kind of goes into that. Yeah. And, it took me a long time to get over body image onto that. And then having kids, oh God, then throw into kids and, try to. And so like, even with her, I was like, and it was kind of funny too, because I've been researching, kind of like a lot more, kind of getting into more kind of crystals. And I kind of just thought it was so funny, the tiger eye. And the tiger eye and how, it's our sacral. Well, isn't it also, what is your sacral? It's your reproductive organs. It's your reproduction. Well, many of us women, we have stretch marks. We have, our bodies change from having...
I call them beauty marks, girl. Beauty marks.
They're beauty marks. Well, there are tiger eyes, too. There are tiger stripes. We are... And so I was just kind of, like, putting that connection kind of even more of, like, the tiger eye and that power and that creativity that, kind of goes into it. So I was talking to the girl that I was like, you need to embrace that. You brought life into
multiple times.
Multiple times. And that is your blessing.
Well, the thing is, we don't realize that everybody can't do that.
No.
Because I
Nope.
mean, I feel like if I know that it was God, why I had my kids when I did, as young as I did,
Yeah.
because I had endometriosis, real bad. So I feel like if I had waited, then I probably wouldn't have been able to have any.
Yeah.
And so I really feel like that was like a push. That was a God push, because my second child I had on the pill, so I wasn't trying to have another baby. And so God had thought that he should be here, and so he's here. Uh, but yeah, I think about that, and I think about so many women that struggle. And to
Hmm.
be honest, for a long time I didn't have a lot of compassion for that, because I, I had my babies back to back, and it looked like if I hadn't stopped it, it would have kept going.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really interested in having that many kids because I had already raised kids. So I was like, mm-mm. But I think about that, and I really have a lot of compassion now for those ladies, because I realize that that can be a struggle.
It
And
is.
it's,
Well,
even though
I've.
we all have, uteruses and stuff, we all can't produce
No.
life.
Yeah,
And
and
so if you can produce life, then you're what? Huge,
yeah. But
right?
even miscarriages on the I've had 5 pregnancies and I have 2 children. And that still takes to your body.
Oh,
I still
yes.
created that life. It maybe
And your
didn't come to
emotions, your
life
mind.
right onto it, but I still have marks on it, and so it's like I embrace it. And of course, I'm a tiny little thing. But and then like my youngest was 10'2".
You had a damn 3 month old.
I did. He came out, dude. He was 10'2", and he was 21 and a half inches long, and he sat so low. Oh my god, he sat so low. So you know what? I have extra skin, and I can do whatever. And everyone's like, "Oh, get a tummy tuck, get a tummy tuck," and I'm like, "No, I love it." I carry that life. That's.
See, and I didn't even get stretch marks until my second one.
I didn't get
My
stretch
first one, I
marks
didn't have
with.
any.
Yeah, with my son, that first kid that made it to full term, I got no stretch marks, nothing. And I
Yeah.
actually gained more weight with him, which is
No.
funny. I gained less with my youngest onto it, and stretch marks galore. But he sat so low, and I mean he came out 3 month old. So
You probably couldn't even use newborn clothes.
no, I didn't. No, actually, I think he came out because of the weight. I want to say it was actually like we were almost in like 6 months clothes.
Oh, shit. Well, we have to think too. They're making probably the clothes for children just like they're making for adults.
Yeah,
Like my wedding dress was a 20. I don't wear no 20.
yeah. But they're
But that
made
was the
because it
size
goes back to what she was saying. Skinny is beautiful, but we
Right.
aren't, and I love the comparison. And I'll tell people all the time, like Marilyn Monroe, like she's an icon, an icon for beauty. You know that she wore a size 16?
I knew she was thick and curvy.
She wore a size 16.
I was going to say, and I think that's what I fell in love with her about.
Yeah. But people are like, no, she's not. No, she wasn't. She was the. No. She wore a size 16.
And they loved her.
They loved her. Everyone
No,
loved
the
her.
damn president loved her.
Exactly. But we make these assumptions on all this type of stuff, and it is like, when are we just truly going to love ourselves? How do we get to the mass of loving ourselves, accepting ourselves,
And
being
that,
true to ourselves?
I was going to say, that's the journey.
It's a beautiful journey,
That is this journey that we are all on.
and I love it.
It's like when you get to that place, because many of us come on this journey from being broken. And so once we come on this journey and we're like, okay, we're trying to find pieces to help us, and trying to find people, trying to find books, trying to find all kinds of things in order to help to build us up. So that is the journey, really. And I think that when you decide to step on that train
Yeah.
and get on that journey.
Well, I think I've come to the conclusion with, of all the people I know, anyone who claims to be a spiritual healer of some way, their whole world got rocked at one
Girl.
point. Their whole world just went from nothing, of everything. And I think that we don't honor that, enough praise. People look at people when you claim spiritual and they just look at you, you're crazy. And it's like, you have no idea what I have been through, whether I caused it or not. That does not matter at all of that you caused it or not. It is the fact of what did you learn?
Right. And what did you go through?
What did you, yeah. And, life is a test. And I was thinking about that the other day about how that, with spiritual journeys, quite a few synchronies have gone this week with that as well. Of, one of the big problems is like if you're in school and you cheat off someone's test, do you go back and do you relearn the information?
Hell no.
No. But do you continue to struggle going forth in that class because you didn't know the basic foundation because you cheated off that test?
Well, what I did was I just kept cheating.
And where did that get you? But where did that get you?
I did B in the class.
Okay, you're not helping my analogy here. But at some point, but that's life, Right. But at the same point, like we cheated for whatever reasons, in our journeys onto it. But where we realized we got nowhere.
Yeah.
So exactly. What did we have to do? Everything that we were never taught as kids, everything that we were never taught, self-regulation, self-love, self-care, self-worth, we had to go back to the beginning. We had to go back to the basics and start learning what it was we were never taught, for their parents' our own fault because they didn't know how to do it. The examples that they set.
Right, and really, no shade on anybody's parents or anything. We're just saying that they gave you what they could and what they knew.
Yeah, well, even my parents onto that. My parents did not know how to self-regulate, obviously, because of the abuse that I went through and stuff like that. But they didn't have the strength or the courage, and still don't, to go and admit, hey, I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know. They've never sought the help. They've never sought to say, okay, this isn't right.
Right.
And so every person who's like on a spiritual journey has gotten to some point in life where they have realized this ain't right.
Right.
And what do? They backtrack.
And that's the thing. Because even I did, because my kids are now adults. And so even I did, and there are times even now that I tell them, I say, it may not have been the right thing that I did. And I tell them this. I said, but I did what I knew.
In that circumstance, so if you in that moment, it was.
I said to them, if you were affected, I apologize. In a negative way. And this is something that I have been doing now since they've been over 20. Because I know that it means something, because I know that they're on their own journeys now. And so and so I explain that because a lot of times kids, when they grow up, especially like 18, 19, 20, where every fucking thing,
honey, that's at 13 now.
Right? They start blaming, you and all that stuff. And then what happens later? This is what I used to tell mine. I say, you're going to go to therapy later and they're going to tell you that everything's your mama's fault. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I don't really give a fuck about that.
No.
I said, because you know why? They weren't here raising you while I was. Yeah. They didn't contribute anything to, our household, nothing. I said, so I don't really give a shit about that. I said, but I just want to share with you that I did what I thought was right. I said a lot of things I did intuitively because I didn't have anybody to help me that I trusted. I didn't have, because there were times where I didn't have conversations with my mother because we just didn't have that type of relationship at that time.
I was completely on my own when it came
Exactly. So you do what you know, and you learn as you go. And this is what I told mine. I said, and the fact that I was so young when I had them, we grew together.
Yeah.
And it's wild because my son is so amazing in that area, and he is such a, I call him a spiritual giant. And the wild thing about him is when he was 9 years old, we were praying in our living room because we used to get together and pray. Me, the kids, my husband, we would get together and pray in the living room. And so we were praying. And this child said, "Oh my God, Mommy, I know what I'm supposed to do." No, he said, "I finally know." And I thought, finally, you're 9 years old.
Damn, you picked up quick.
Right? I was like, okay. He said, "I finally know what I'm supposed to do." And I said, "Well, what are you supposed to do? Tell us." He said, "I'm supposed to be a preacher." I was like, and you know what the amazing thing about that is? He is a preacher now, but not traditional.
Right.
He
That's
truly
beautiful.
is a spiritual being, and he is embraced it. I love it. So it's just amazing how, as we take our journeys, our kids are taking their journeys.
Here's a funny you'll die laughing about. So my youngest came home. I'm teaching him Reiki, and we practice like the energy, life force, and feeling it. Came home and he's like, "You got me in trouble at school." I was like, "How'd I get you in trouble at school?" And he was like, "I was in the bathroom, and I asked some people if they wanted to feel the God's life energy force."
I love it.
And so he was showing it to them, and the few kids that felt it ran out of the bathroom screaming. Teachers came in, and they're like, "What?" And they're like, "Grace, he's showing us the energy of God." So he got in trouble. And I'm like, "But how did I get?" Like, I was like, "Why did you choose to do that in the bathroom?" Like, he's like, "Well, I didn't want a lot of people around me, so I chose not to do it on the playground in case no one felt it besides me, and I didn't look like an idiot."
You gotta respect that.
I was like, okay. I was like, but I didn't get you in trouble because I did not tell you to go share that with anyone else. You got excited and was like, because he loves that he feels it. Where my oldest is not, compatible with a lot of this stuff because of, their father's a narcissist, and so he is at that age kind of trying to figure. So his faith is very rocky onto many things. So he'll be like, "It's just friction. It's just friction." Trying to, and I'm like, "You'll come." And I keep pointing things out, but my youngest fully embraces it. He's completely with it. So I think that's beautiful, and it's kind of ironic synchrony. He's 9. So,
there's something about that, right?
Yeah, I love it. So when you said that, I kind of I wonder because he's so into it.
It's just so amazing when you look at that. It's like, wow. But I believe that if we can get children involved that young or even younger,
I
think it would change the world.
I know a lot of people who, say that they're so scared for our future, and I'm like, actually, I'm not. Because there are so many more people who are becoming awoken. There's so many more people, and they are sharing it with it. I mean, I have lots of friends who are sharing it with their kids, and I'm like, if we can continue this and make this awakening and make this a normal, think of that ripple.
Yes.
That ripple that is happening, and ripple of time, the wrinkle in time, whatever you want to say to it, and it's beautiful.
That was my book and my movie.
I love that movie.
I love the movie and the book. I think I read the book probably at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Growing up.
But that's something hilarious because my oldest son, he loves all those type of movies. But he's a very logical person. He's a very rational. He's very.
What they call it, left brain?
Yes, he's highly intelligent. The science and the math, he's just onto it. So he can't rationalize it because he can't see it.
It'll come to him.
It will.
I had a numerologist that I interviewed a few times. And I also did a class with him. He's amazing. But he was like that growing up and later. And he said that he had an experience for him that rocked his world. his best friend like died in college. He said, and that totally shifted his whole everything.
Yeah.
And he said he started really searching for God because he was raised basically, I guess, agnostic. You know, his parents didn't do religion, which was really different because he looked like me, you know.
Yeah.
And he was, I think he was from Baltimore somewhere. And so
Up
anyway,
north, yeah.
he said that when he had that experience, something in him just shifted, and he started really going on a quest for God. And now he does numerology.
And and the one thing I say on God is that if people pay attention, God speaks to us in numbers.
Yeah.
So that is, honestly a perfect thing for him is because,
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Bible, look at all of that stuff. There's all these numbers, there's all these
Yes.
things, those patterns.
Because you think about it, you got the Trinity, you got three that's significant.
Mm-hmm.
You got 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
You got what is the 8th day is new beginnings. So you have all these different synchronicities within the Bible that relate to numbers.
Yeah, and every religion is certain on certain numbers.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like when I tell people that of like God speaks to us in numbers, I'll bring up that how every religion has numbers. Why
Yes.
do you think that is? Why?
Right.
And if you correlate and and that's the beautiful back to human design,
Yes.
because human design is all of that, which again goes into the the channels and the gates and all of that, which are all number based.
Which I do not even understand yet.
I do onto it because I have that wonderful 5818, which is I see everything for everyone else, and it's a perfectionism. And so it is something that I truly have had to embrace of understanding that perfectionism comes with practice.
And I want to. I have a desire to learn some of that stuff, but to be honest with you, I'm so deep in the healing because I know we need that so much. And I feel like I just saw another fucking person dead at 50, 51 or something. And then some TikTok person dead at 30 or 28 or suicide. And I know that those things are energies for one thing.
Yeah.
And then they are
the bullies. It's
I was going to say the emotions that are repressed and the things that we're dealing with. I am like so. I'm like, it's got to be. We have to do this. It has to be a way to combat this because people are fucking killing themselves and shit left and right. It's not been like this in decades, really. Not like this.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of the stuff has happened more because of technology. It's that external validation. Everyone cares so much more about likes. Who liked this, who commented on that. You need those numbers, and where it's like you shouldn't matter. It's what's in your heart.
That's what I was telling you. That's what I was telling you. That is the place. It's like I have to be heart centered.
Yeah, but people they're so vanity.
Numbers.
It's so external.
No, I love that. I think about that all the time because when I start looking at like even my channel and stuff. Now I've had my YouTube channel for years. And I've been growing little by little because that organic growth is super fucking slow. But I can see traction and I can see differences. And then the other piece of that is I just made a decision that I'm going to bring it forward. I'm going to say it. If Spirit gives it to me, I'm going to give it. I'm going to give my heart and I'm going to do it. And I don't give a fuck if one person is watching. Because I know that it'll catch up at the time when it needs to. And the people that need to see it are going to see it. Because that is what I've been calling in.
I feel you. I've had kind of, and it goes back to that in the kitchen aspect. I've just truly have come into, my acceptance and my purpose. And where it is, I did not come here to be small. And I've had a bright light. And the fact is I have attracted a lot of nastiness because of that bright light. My bright light scares the crap out of people. Yeah. And I've had to change my perception onto that of, well, I scare them because I'm meant to do big.
Yep, because you are the light.
I'm in the light, and I am the light.
You are the light, yes.
Light. And you know what? And it's really, it kind of comes, that old saying of you can't stand the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen.
That's the one.
Get out. You can't stand my light. Don't come over to me. Don't try, because I'm not dimming my light anymore. I am not being small.
It's like the scrolling thing. You know, you see something and people making all those nasty comments and stuff. Well, if you don't want to see it, fucking don't watch it.
Right.
Scroll
like
past.
We had that friend here recently of, we're spiritual people. We're going to post spiritual stuff, and coming onto a spiritual person's post, of where you saw it, and then calling them why? Why do you think you're entitled to do that? Go over
what gives you the right?
Yeah, go over, why are you coming to put that energy? Why are you trying to come dim someone else who is fully within who they are? They are beautiful, they are powerful, they are amazing human being. Why do you think you have the right to come dim onto someone else? But it comes back to ourselves, because we allow those people to dim us.
Right.
We got to go back to our core. We got to go back to our chakras. We got to go back to our meridians, and we got to figure that out.
Come on my lives when I was doing readings. They say all kind of nasty stuff. I said, you know what? You gonna get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah.
I'm about to block you right the fuck now.
Yeah. Block.
Because you leave me alone. I'm not bothering you. Because here's what I tell a lot of people that are religious or something. I say, well, who are you to judge? Who are you?
Because you're not living towards the Bible right there. If you are,
I was going to say, didn't the Bible say, "Judge not, lest ye be judged"?
Well, doesn't it also say that He is the judge, the executioner, the jury, the judge, and the executioner?
Yes. So who are you?
But yet you want to compare me when I say that I'm beautiful and I'm built in God's. It's that contradiction constantly. Onto you pick and choose when it's your battle and when it's not your battle. But because I'm non-judgmental, you want to come judge me.
I was just hearing India Ivory in my head.
Hearing what?
India Ivory, I am not your hair. I am not my hair.
Yeah.
It just was like, because she was talking about beauty and all this stuff in the. She was talking about beauty and all this stuff in the song, and as you were speaking, I was like, yeah, that's what it is. It's like no, I am me. I am the light. And I'm going to shine.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to see me shine, then get the fuck out of my light.
Yeah. That's why I made that post yesterday. Like, it came to me of just like, we all need to share that. We need to share it with all of our, friends and stuff. We are the light. We are love. And we are divine. And if we share that and we spread that.
Yes.
The ripple. It's
going to be a ripple effect. Yes.
I don't know. I'm really about this ripple here lately. And I guess maybe it's also just because I see, I've just been doing so much self-reflection of where I was 4 years ago in my journey onto it. And like, I look back now and like that person that I was hiding from 4 years ago wouldn't even recognize like who I am. She would be scared to death if she is looking back at me now in the mirror. She's scared seeing me.
Yep.
And I love
that's where we have to be.
Yes.
It's like
she doesn't have control over me anymore.
No control.
And it's beautiful.
No control. Well, let's shut it down.
Yeah, let's shut it down. I think that's beautiful to go out on.
I think that this has been such an amazing, awesome conversation as usual.
Yes.
As usual, we have
so much information you get from us. We try to make it like all of this. It all goes together. And I know people get hung up and they you'll hear people talk about this or this, but it all intertwines.
Yes.
It all comes back. It's all a circle. It's all
what's
onto it.
The word for
manifest? It's complicated. What?
It's all connected.
It's all connected. It's infinite.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. It's just the value of us valuing ourselves.
Yes.
And sharing our gifts and the things that God has given us. Because the thing is people can say what they want, but God has given us these gifts.
Yes.
God has given us even this idea for us to do this. God gave this to us.
Yeah. He did. And we earned it.
Yeah,
we earned it by learning the lessons.
Yeah. For sure. I think about that all the time. I'm like, because the quantum leap thing that you were talking about earlier, that just got me because I've been studying that as well.
Oh, you got to read this book though. Then.
It's
short. So anyone who wants it, it's U squared.
Okay.
It came to me
Read it
highly
from
recommended
Amazon.
from a what?
Amazon.
Yeah, I got it from Amazon. Came from me from a highly recommended, a beautiful soul girl, and she was right. And it's very explosive within.
I was gonna say, well, short is the name of the game for me.
Yeah, it's like 38 pages, guys. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
yeah, I can
gonna.
do that in a day. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
um,
I'm telling you,
actually you cannot do it in a day because you will go back and you will
my books
start
look
to
like
reread.
this.
Yeah, one of my other books. These are, and I got another one. It's somewhere around. I kind of
All right, let me share this card before we go.
Okay.
It's Power of Attraction.
Ooh.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's I actually can't. Oh, I see it now. There's a glare on it. Oh, I love that. Someone actually sent me another picture this week, which kind of goes with that. But it's the sitting and the position, but it's with lights flying out of your heart. I'll
Oh
just send it to you.
yes.
But then it's the wings in the background
Oh nice.
onto it, and it really goes with that card. I'll send it to you when we get off here.
That is like, oh my God. So I'm gonna read it. There is such a wonder awaiting you. There are so many beautiful adventures and so much magic yet to be. Can you keep your heart open to what is coming towards you without surrendering your experience of this moment by becoming too future oriented? You see, there is magic in this moment too. There is something arising within you, out of the depths of your being. In this process, there is a shift in environment, both internal and external. A fertility is being stimulated.
That is
When
hilarious.
I read that, I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta share this. This is your
but
time.
again, our synchronicities. I mean, what were we talking about? Fertility. It's beautiful.
I know. This
I
is
love
your
it.
time to play with
is our
that
time.
fertility, to
I have been-
conceive, create, and embark upon the process of transformation with an open heart and mind. You may not know where it is all going to lead. All you need to know is that it will be wonderful and exactly perfect.
I was just gonna say it's gonna be amazing. That's
What
what
is
because
needed.
well we've been talking about of faith, desire, faith, love, faith, and sex, which
Yes.
this card goes into what our last couple weeks have been about. It's beautiful.
Oh, show. Beyond that, allow the energy of fertile growth and abundance that now flows so naturally and richly within you and around you simply to be. You are a big soul, and with that often comes big dreams. You might worry that you want too much out of life. Perhaps you think that you are only capable of small dreams. If you have, this oracle is guiding you to remember that there are stages of creation. A house cannot be built without the flooring. No matter how beautiful the stained glass windows you plan to install are, the walls need to be up first. Your big life dreams are a work in progress, just like you. If you have been working or healing something within you, started a new creative project, or just taken on a new job or relationship and feel that although you are getting some results, you are impatient for more, doubt that you can continue or ever find the zone of or become proficient in the situation at hand, then this oracle comes as a reinforcement. You are doing well. That which is worthwhile takes time to build. Celebrate each success, even the small ones. You are creating something of worth. Be patient, keep going, and trust. This oracle comes with a special message. You have recently completed a cycle or level of manifestation and are transitioning into, gave me chills, the next level of experience. Like a big fish leaving the small pond and feeling like a rather small fish in a bigger pond, there will be some getting used to it time needed as you find your way. This will add to what you have already done and being valuable expansion to your realization of your abilities, as well as many new relationships and opportunities to help you go further on your journey. What you are in the process of creating will benefit from this stage of your process. Whether your creation is simply your sacred life path, a particular creative work, or an actual child, There is a positive and constructive energy that is unfolding for you now to boost this process and carry you further along the way. Do you dare to dream or to believe in your dream until it manifests? Even if naysayers challenge you? Of course you do, Sacred Rebel. This oracle brings you guidance. You are going to attract whatever is needed to complete your work in progress and bring it to fruition. Remain open to receive and trust in the unfolding of life experiences. Do not turn away. All of the necessary elements are coming together. Allow this integration to occur so that you can manifest your dreams. That is like a culmination.
That is everything.
I was like, oh my God.
But it is true, and it's so beautiful, and but that even goes of with the one book I'm reading is that like you have to have that desire, but it's not just a desire; it is that mindset, that you are going to create this change, and you can't let it up. You can't because it's not working out for 5 days. Like it hasn't happened in 5 days. Like you go back to it. No, you have to get into that dead set mindset. Yep. This is it. This is what I want. No matter what, I understand there could be hard times. I understand because I'm being tested to see whether or not I truly want it.
Right.
Is this truly what I want? Because God's saying, God, source, universe, whatever, Allah, whatever you want to call him, as long as you believe in a higher being, a higher self. Right. Really, truly,
the God of your own understanding is what I say.
Yes. Then that's what's important, but you have to believe that it's going to be. You gotta have that full body desire of, I'm going to do this. Yes. And it's a learning process, Yep. Perfectionism is practice makes perfect,
Exactly.
For all of us. So it's
absolutely.
The card's just so fitting.
And the thing is we can take it where we want to take it. It's just really up to you.
It's not having that expectation, but knowing in our hearts that this is it. Like, fully being open to receive. What you laugh at?
I'm laughing at I hear songs. And so I was hearing
movies.
This is it.
This is it.
You remember that you might not remember the show. You might be too young. One Day at a Time.
Oh God, yeah, I watched One Day at a Time.
Okay. You remember the theme song? This is it. This is it. That's what I started hearing in my head.
It's kind of funny. I'm having movies and TV shows like pop into my head, like ones that like I've never even seen or anything. But it's like I think it's like I have a list actually of movies this week that have just like popped into my head that like I got to go sit down and watch because there's something in them that is like now of like I never cared to watch it, but I now. But like Care Bears has just like been like popping in my head like so much here lately because it's our light. It's our heart. It's our, and it's everyone's, that has different modalities. We had different things we've learned, Tammy and I both do, different things, into it, but it's our heart. Mm-hmm. It's our heart where it's where we're coming from of the different skills onto it.
Yes. So. And so as you go on this journey, you just realize that you're getting closer to your dreams.
Yeah.
And I'll make you laugh. I even do this when I'm doing readings. I hear songs for people and movies and things, and I'm like, this is what I'm hearing, blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing. Sometimes annoying.
Yeah.
But I learned that you can also shut that shit off, too, if you need to.
Well, see, I'm learning to open it up more because I realized I have shut it off. And, I have a lot more songs popping up.
No, I'm saying, while you're trying to sleep and shit. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I have that, too, onto it. But I shut it off for so long that I'm embracing it. But, also, I've had, Bob Marley has been in my head. Mm-hmm. No worries.
Don't worry about a thing.
Don't worry about a thing.
It's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be all right. People are, looking at me I'm just, singing at work. And they're like...
Me, too! This is what they say. They say, oh, you must be happy. I say... I am happy. I said, but I sing because it helps me get through.
Yeah. For some reason, that song just came to my head, so therefore I'm going to sing it. And actually, what I've started to do is I've started, sticky notes of like songs to see if like maybe there's meaning, like why certain songs and stuff like that. I've started to take notes
That is so freaking deep. I love that.
yeah, as to why, like, and I'm writing down like this like a situation, like maybe like I was unhappy or something like that, but like why is it this song triggered of
That's
something
awesome.
that I needed, you know, because I'm all about internal as to why is this all of a sudden popping up for me, like, you know,
Right.
onto
Because
it.
sometimes it does. And because you can go through all these things and then all of a sudden something will pop out at you and you're like, or you'll see a movie, like you said, or you'll hear a song.
Yeah,
And since I'm
but
a
I'm like,
music girl,
maybe
I
this is
love
supposed to be
music.
my
I love
playlist,
songs.
you know. That's how I'm looking at it, is that maybe like maybe this is going to help one of my clients.
Right.
These songs are going to come down and I'm going to have this like, you know, dance ass playlist to be able to
Or
like go to.
I was going to say, or that's something that, your clients are going to need because they're going to need to shift that damn energy.
Well, you know, and I do sound therapy, so it's kind of like, you know, of where a lot of people don't want to sit around and they don't want
Like
to
the
listen
bowls?
to. Huh? Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do the bowls and stuff, but a lot of people don't like that sound. You know, it irritates them. It
Yeah.
different things, and so I do send. When I talk to people about sound, because a lot of people don't, and they're hard to play on.
Melan makes it look easy.
They're not. They're not. It
And I
took me a
know that
long.
because I have a little one.
Ah,
Because I was, just dabbling a couple of years ago and I bought it on Amazon, because I was like, let me just try.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, even after I got my sound therapy, I actually had to go sit with a lady and her teach me how, because I couldn't get them to play. I could not, like I had the certification and stuff like that.
I was going to say you didn't have the right smile, or how did that?
You
Because
know,
you
it's
didn't have the right
actually,
smile while you were playing.
you know, it actually does come down to hand posture.
Okay.
It comes down to hand posture and your energy into how it does have to be held onto it
okay.
and to the pressure. So it actually does kind of go onto that smile as to my frustrated, like, come on, play, or you know you're.
Because you know why I said that, because I was watching Alicia Hartzell play one day,
Yeah, I
right?
love her.
Me too. And so, I took her. I'm a sacred soul.
Yeah, she got me actually. She's one of the reasons I actually got into sound therapy, is because I benefited so much from her listening to it that I was like, this is something I need to learn how to do. Like this.
So you probably didn't hear her when she first started.
No.
Yeah, it was a journey. I love her, so I just was like, okay, I'm gonna sit through this and see how how it goes. Because
Yeah.
she shared that she was just starting doing it and she wanted to. And so she was doing a live stream or whatever, and I was like, oh God, I almost can't stand this. I was like, don't turn this shit off.
But you know, a lot of people aren't ready to hear that, and that's one thing when you go through those certifications, you do. And so every song has frequencies to it, and
absolutely.
if you go deeper into it, I mean, there are some genres of music that you should necessarily kind of stay away from, because they are into the beta. They're built into the beta stream, and the beta is what puts us like in the ADHD type mode. So like there are certain times like you shouldn't be listening to these type of musics and stuff like that. If you are trying to produce this, you are actually causing more harm to your nervous system than you are trying to do. So I mean, it's so much when you go into it. And so like I start thinking like maybe here's a list, maybe these songs I need to study of like what the sound frequencies, what scales are they, which goes back to, I used to play the flute. I played in bands for 12 years.
Clarinet.
There you go. Flute and bass clarinet, 12 years. Which was maybe me training to do all that.
Mm-hmm. What I want is, I'm so excited about, let me put it like this. I'm so excited about my beautiful piano that is in my home, in my beautiful home. You like that? I love it.
I love it. My oldest son is, they made him take piano, and he's so mad, which kind of is funny because he used to play the bass cello, and he was amazing at it. And then, unfortunately, the divorce and all that, switched schools, and stuff, and so he kind of went away from it. Now he's in piano, and he's like, I want out of this stupid class. I want out of this stupid. And I'm like, oh my God, please embrace it. Please, please, please embrace
Because
it.
it's
It
the
is
most
so
beautiful thing you can do.
Yeah, but I like, well, I keep trying to. I'm like, it's your brain. You know, it's learning to read the music. It's all that you're using the other side of your brain. You're
Well,
expanding your
girl,
brain and stuff.
that was one of those things I just did not let mine drop out of shit. I didn't. My daughter played the viola, I think from 5th grade. She got to
Yeah.
about 10th grade. She was like, yeah, I think I'm not going to do this. I was like, did you ask me? No? Well, then you're going to continue to play that shit.
Yeah.
I said because
sometimes in divorces with narcissistics, you know, they got to go to be the
oh
happy
well, of course they're
parent,
going to
so
compete anyway.
yeah, it's all
So whatever you
competition.
say, they're going to flip and probably say the opposite.
But luckily, he can't get out of it because he decided to reach out to the guidance counselor a little too late, so he's stuck in the class. So I'm like,
Good.
yeah, I at least get a semester of you being enriched in music.
Yeah, because the thing is music shifts energy,
Yeah.
and
But
music
you know what's funny?
make you feel so good.
Which does show, you know, of the schools and the public school systems aspects. Do you know he actually does not get a credit for this class?
Are you serious? They have
That's actually was
up.
his big hang up. He's like, why am I wasting my time? Because again, he's back into the math, the logics, and you know, different things like that.
Yeah.
And so it came down to, I was like, finally, I was like, why is it you really want out of this class? And he was like, because I don't get a credit for it. The arts and the music and stuff like that are, you know, shut out, but you don't get credits for some of these things in school anymore.
You know, the thing is too about schools that I learned, which I didn't know because you know my children have been out, but they have to pay for like band and stuff like that. You know,
The
all
money's
the
not there anymore. It's not considered
I'm
important.
like, what in the world? We didn't have to pay for band when we were coming up. You had to buy your instrument,
Yeah.
or you could rent it.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
important
it's,
anymore.
it's scandalous. It makes no sense.
Well, it's so we don't become awoken. It's you don't.
Oh yeah, that's
reach
true.
those,
Right.
That stuff, that art and
It's
all
a
that is
whole
not. It's not cultured anymore. You know,
Yeah.
it's sports. They get all the money, and the arts and music and stuff does not. So
It is so scandalous. I'm gonna tell you, when I was in school, our band boosters were amazing because I did marching band my whole high school, but they were amazing. We hardly paid for anything.
Yeah.
And we went trips all over the South, really, because our band was a competition band.
They don't
So
do
we
that
went to
stuff anymore.
competitions, or we would go to competitions, and the band boosters would raise money. You know, we would sell shit, you know, but the band boosters would raise money, and sometimes we would only have to pay like $25 for like a whole ass trip to like Alabama or somewhere, or we went to Six Flags and Disney World and stuff like that. And we rarely had to probably pay anything because the band boosters worked and they got us money, and it was amazing.
It's
But they
all
don't do
out of
that shit
pocket,
no more.
girl. It's all out of pocket.
Now they
You want
want the
your kid
parents to
rich.
pay.
If you want your kid enriched, you gotta pay for it.
You gotta pay.
You gotta pay for it.
That's a shame.
But
All
it's
right,
worth
girl,
it.
let me get off this line because I need food.
I need
I haven't had
bed.
anything. Huh?
I need bed.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, enjoy. Have a wonderful day tomorrow, and
You
get some good
too.
rest. I will. I'm going to. I have no. I'm like you. I was like, I need vacation.
Pray for us. And anyone who's in Florida right now, you know, with Hurricane
Yes,
Ivan,
our
you
prayers.
know, Fort Myers and all that area is all underwater and
Oh,
stuff like
my
that. They
God.
had like 12, 15 foot surges and different things like that. They're all getting it. It's supposed to be in my area tomorrow afternoon, so the schools haven't made any type of decisions and stuff. But you know, everyone be safe.
I was
You
gonna
know,
say,
Mother
I
Nature,
know,
you don't mess with.
I know. We always used to get a lot of wind and rain and stuff when I was there.
Yeah, well, they honestly have no idea what it's doing. They don't know where it's going to go. And you know, the thing here is, you know, if it comes up Charleston, where I live, it's they always say you're screwed. There's
Yeah.
aspects that it may come
See, I
up.
wasn't here
Charleston.
for. I wasn't there for. What was that one in Charleston, Hugo?
Hugo, I wasn't here either.
I wasn't there. I was actually here
Huh.
in
Oh, were you?
Washington.
I was in Maryland.
So we were watching it on the TV on the weather station
Yeah, I was
and
8.
praying
Yeah.
for our family because my family's in Savannah,
Yeah.
so we always pray.
So yeah, but they don't know how it's gonna supposedly cut across Florida, and then it's gonna hit the Atlantic again, that's a little, and then come back up.
So it's gonna try to gain some strength.
It already hit on. It was 2 miles below a Category 5.
I saw somebody post about that earlier. I'm
They
in
had
a
video earlier. It was kind of like eerie, but they in the one harbor, the one bay area, as the storm coming in, all the water went out. The boats were on the ground, and then came in.
See, to me, if that doesn't awaken you, then I don't know what the fuck will.
Yeah.
Because
Mother
that would
nature,
make you open your damn eyes.
So everyone be
and
safe.
start seeing it's not just about you and your little world. Yeah.
Lots of people, lots and lots of people who are like devastated.
So we're sending out prayers to everybody in those areas, and we just are thanking God for coverage. For
everyone got out. They listened.
That's what I was going to say.
Warnings.
No loss of life. All of that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't watched the news here in a few hours.
Well, we will be back next week.
Yes.
And if you desire to reach out to either one of us or both of us, do so. We are in the process of, we have a page that we're working on, so you'll be able to communicate that way as well. And if you have any topics as you're watching that you want us to talk about, share with us in the comments, or you can DM either one of us or both of us.
And it's confidential. We are not going to name you out or
no,
anything like
none
that.
Of that.
So everything that we share and all that is confidential. Of that you are just a person with a situation. So
it'll be your situation and not you.
Right.
So that's the thing. That's the important thing, because people, already feel some kind of way that are in those type of situations. But no judgment here.
No, we've been there.
We've been there. Probably multiple times.
Multiple times, because it took us a long time to learn I know for me, it took me many times to learn my lesson.
Hey, I'm over 50, so you know.
I'm a 35. I got to learn the hard way on some things.
Yeah, and I laughed. I looked at mine. I was like, yeah, that's true. I do like to hide.
Not me. I'm out front and center. Like, I am the leader. Like I die laughing right now because it's the haunted house time, and like I love haunted houses. But like I'm the one always out in front. Do what?
I said my birthday's the next day.
I know.
I'm so excited.
But I'm always the leader. Like I'm always the one like, come on. Except with my oldest son.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go. Like I'm the one everyone's holding on to me, as I'm like walking through. Except the first time I took my oldest son to his first haunted house, he made me so proud. He walks into the one room and goes, y'all got this stuff from Party City. But it's funny. We don't do horror movies. We don't watch horror movies. We don't do any of that type of sort. But give us a haunted house, we there.
That's so hilarious.
Love haunted houses.
I ain't gonna lie. I've been getting into Jordan Peele's crazy stuff. He does some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't watch any. I am too much. I feel, I know it's a movie, but like I also, those movies come from headlines, from police stories and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like I'm not much of an empathist, that it may be a movie, but I can feel that energy of what that pain that actor is putting off. And I mean, I am sitting there in suspense, but my heart is like literally pounding. I cannot handle them. I cannot handle me and my kids. We are all that way. Like we feel that energy way too much.
No.
Cannot sit there.
I do it. I'm good. Exactly. All right.
All righty, love. We can talk for hours if y'all haven't figured that out yet. We
could.
Everything and anything, because we're real.
Yeah.
And we love the connection.
Exactly. And it's such an amazing thing. It's like, I don't know, for me, every time I get on live, I'm nervous. Every time.
I am.
Even because I do it so much.
Yeah.
I'm nervous every time before, right at the beginning.
I'm not nervous on here, but I don't do a lot of lives and stuff. This I'm not nervous about because you're there, so we're
Girl,
balancing the energies. But
when
lives
I
and
was
stuff
marketing
like
my
that,
book, I did lives every day for about a month and a half. But I
I need to
sold
start
some
doing
damn
some.
books.
Yeah, I got that
I mean,
book. It's a part of my
I mean,
list to read.
I didn't do long ones. I did like short ones. Like little like now they would probably be like stories or reels.
Right.
But back in those days we didn't have those. We didn't have reels and stories nobody cared about.
Yeah, I need to start
But
embracing getting on lives more. I just
but
the
yeah, it was
time and the energy.
for me. That's the way that I do because it works for me. Because I'd rather
Yeah.
do a live than a post. Because it seems like you can talk about it easier than fucking writing all that shit.
See, I do better with posts.
Girl,
But I want to turn them into lives. That's onto it so people can feel it more.
and that's funny because most of the time people want to do the opposite. They want to turn the live into a post.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I the post putting my it's something about to me. It's putting it down on paper. It's typing.
Yeah,
it out.
I did a challenge a couple of years ago. Well, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago now. But I did a challenge with this girl, and it was a go live challenge.
Yeah.
So for 7 days, we had to go live, and the way she taught it was so amazing. She actually taught us to embrace it and to actually, be yourself and don't stress over the bullshit and the tech stuff. Don't stress over that because people fucking know they deal with the same shit.
Yeah.
So don't stress over it. Don't apologize for it. Just do it and be you.
Well, my hang up was I used to not
Be
like
authentic.
my voice on it. My voice
But
was
it's
so
your
suppressed.
voice.
I know, but my voice was so suppressed.
Suppressed.
So I didn't like it onto it.
Gotcha.
Now, like I'm completely over that. I've like my throat chakra is just completely opened. Of just like Megan's running at the mouth again.
I do it. It's time. It's time. Maybe you just discover it.
A what?
I said maybe you just discover it.
I just.
I was thinking about this thing I saw on I think it was it was TikTok or something, or Reel or something. And the guy was talking about the police were trying to pull him, talking about you got to leave that car. He's like, I discover it. It's mine.
My kids try to get me on TikTok all the time. They're sending me TikTok videos and I just
Girl, because it's funnier than shit.
I have not made that like plus though, but like I mean literally like my youngest is like 30,000 like text messages a day of TikToks, so I don't have to go out on TikToks because it's constantly beep 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 beep. I'm like,
well, at least he loves you enough to share with you.
yes, and some of them are like this is what we're
Yeah.
Yay, TikTok.
Yeah. You're like, okay, yes.
This is what entertains us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, some of the ones you look at that are like viral, you're like, why?
Yes. So many. And that's honestly what he does. Like he follows people, but it's like, the way like, because he used to want to be an influencer and stuff like that. So, he sends me and I'm just like, and that's supposed to be funny? Like, can you educate me on what the humor is? Because I'm not finding humor. And I think I'm a pretty funny person. I mean,
especially some of those ones where they're doing the stupid stuff, the challenges.
Yeah. Oh, I find some, well, I don't know. I'm
Now, the dance challenges I love.
The what ones?
The dance.
Oh, I love dance challenges. But I have boys so they like to watch the ones that people get hurt.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Those are stupid.
Oh, but I sit there, but I feel everything, and I don't care that it's a video. I still feel everything. So, like, even if it's like it's a boy, I'll be like, ooh, and like they'll be like, you don't even have those parts. Like, how can you sit there and say ooh? And I'm like, because I can imagine how it felt. Like, I can feel that, and I'm just like,
because it would hurt us too.
Right. But now, I mean, I laugh at some of the stuff. Like, my one, he was like, why is it so funny when a baby just falls? Why is it so funny? He was watching a whole bunch of videos of kids, like little kids at the playgrounds on the swings, and like the kids like flip off the swings and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know, but they're funny.
Especially when they say, when they have the song background. Oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. Those are hilarious.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Am I going to hell because I think that's funny?" And I'm like, "Well, honey, then I'm leading the way because I think it's funny." You
How you
know,
doing? Come on, y'all, let's go.
let's go again. Like through the haunted house, I'm leading the way.
Let's go.
Because I mean, their sense of humor does come from me. I mean, and I do find that type of stuff funny, but like. Remind me, I'll tell you, I'm not going to put this on air here, but remind me, like, I'll call you after and I'll tell you one of their favorite jokes.
Oh, you gotta share that.
And I tell people it and they're like, your kids say that? And I'm like, yeah, but if you think about it, it's funny. Like,
I was gonna say, you'd be surprised.
It might be because my oldest son's into dark humor.
Yeah. Mine
and
too.
so he will all the time. And it's,
But me too.
I am too. But it's amazing because of the fact like he learns how to say the stuff, and like he is so like dead point onto it where it's just like I don't know if I should be proud or be like, oh baby, and I'm proud, but it is that kind of moment where it's like I love you, I'm so proud of you, but I shouldn't be saying that.
You almost want to say, did he really just say that?
But I love it because I let them embrace who they are.
Yeah,
and other people criticize me onto that, and I'm like, if they find humor in it and they're not hurting anyone, and it's not, none of the stuff is like really like hurting other people or any type of stuff like that. I'm allowing my kids to be who they are and develop their own sense of humor.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to control that. I'm not going to be like, you can't listen to that. That's what if that touches you, and I'm happy.
We didn't let our kids read, what was that shit? Harry Potter.
Oh.
Because, they said that was of the devil.
Well, where you were living, yes. They still were banning
guess what? My kids read that shit.
Yeah. Oh, my kids
daughter,
we have the whole series.
She read all of them. Yeah, she read them all. And
we watched the movies.
I just told her at that time, I said, now don't tell them people at church you read this.
Yeah, actually, I remember that. I forgot about that, but that was here. That was a huge thing. And now look at it. Now look at how massive it is. That you kind of have to laugh back at all those people who fought against it. And they're probably, now that they watch it, they're the biggest supporters of it.
Exactly. I was like, wow. That, and what was the other one? Pokemon. That was supposed to be demonic, too. Yeah. That was of the devil. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's actually a lot of fun.
You didn't.
Yeah. Pokemon, that Pokemon Go, that is actually a lot of fun. If you get a group of people together, what?
It's a game?
Yeah, you can get an app on your phone, but like the Pokemon Go, my boys and I will, like some of their friends and stuff like that, and we'll go down to the Riverwalk, down there and everything, and you go and you have to like catch these certain things, and so like you see all these people and they're like catching, and it's like these points and certain times, and then you can make certain potions and stuff like that. It makes them all like come near, so we'll end up like sitting in this one spot for like 30 minutes trying to catch all these Pokemon to get points, and you have to take pictures with them and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that was people consider that.
Ask the church people, they'll tell you.
Because they have fun. To me, it was getting my kids active.
They have my children feeling so bad about that because they were young, and they have always been spiritually sensitive. My children.
Yeah.
So when they went, we were going to church, and they were like, "Oh, that Pokemon, that is of the devil," and I don't even remember why it was of the devil.
Yeah, I can't. That is just something I cannot even. I mean, maybe because of the powers and maybe they're monsters of some of them, or
the thing is, the church is down on what they're not up on.
Yeah, that's true.
And they probably didn't get a cut from it.
That is probably true. On it, the reality of it.
All right.
On that note.
Right. Good night, Megan.
Good night, love.
I love you.
Love you. Namaste. Thank you all for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.